I don't know about you, but the beginning of the year is kind of complex. It's filled with a lot of emotions, heightened emotions, because we're coming off the high of the new year, having spent a lot of time relaxing, reconnecting with people from the holidays. But also it can be challenging because we have been in winter for a couple of months, and for many people, the winter time brings the winter blues, otherwise known as seasonal affective disorder. So let's talk about it. Seasonal affective disorder is really any mood disorder that you're feeling or experiencing that happens with the seasons. So that can be depression, that can be mania. It can happen during the summer, it can happen during the fall or winter. But usually when we talk about seasonal affective disorder, we're talking about depression that has an onset during the fall or the winter time. And so this is what most people are talking about when they say seasonal affective disorder or SAD. In our DSM, which is the manual that psychiatrists use to diagnose different diseases, we call it major depressive disorder with a seasonal pattern. So what is seasonal affective disorder? Like I said, it happens during the winter, and it is something that can affect anyone. It can affect young people, old people, but typically it affects women and young adults in their 20s to 30s. So with seasonal affective disorder, it is a disorder, a depression that happens typically during the fall or during the winter that has a seasonal pattern. So usually we need to see that you've had these episodes at least 2 years in a row to know that it is related to the season and not due to any other causes. Because sometimes depression can come during a certain time of the year, but it can be due to particular stresses, whether that's stress with work, with school, with anniversaries, time of year. Again, sometimes the holidays can be hard. And so seasonal affective disorder happens outside of these external factors. And that's why usually we need to have at least 2 years and maybe even more knowledge of these depressive episodes just happening during this time of the year, and then the symptoms improving as we move into the spring and summertime. What causes seasonal affective disorder? Seasonal affective disorder is thought to be caused mainly by the decrease in sunlight leads to a rise in melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone that our brain makes that regulates our circadian rhythm, our biological clock. And so with that, melatonin is good. It helps us know when to fall asleep and when to wake up. But when we have too much of it, it can lead us to feel a little bit more sleepy, a little bit more tired. And so that is one of the mechanisms that might be behind causing more depressed feelings during the winter, and that's why some of our treatments try to target that decrease in melatonin. Another reason why we can have more down emotions during the winter time is a decrease in serotonin, which is a neurotransmitter. You might have heard of it, called the happy neurotransmitter. So what are the symptoms of seasonal affective disorder? Seasonal affective disorder looks like any other type of depression, although there are some features that are more prominent. In a typical depression, you're feeling depressed, you might feel more sleepy or less sleepy, have trouble sleeping, and with seasonal affective disorder, more so people are oversleeping. You can also feel less interested in the activities that you used to take pleasure in, not really want to hang out with your friends and family as much. Some people might have a sense of guilt, of hopelessness, loss of energy, loss of concentration that they normally have. Your appetite can change. Sometimes it can decrease, but more so with seasonal affective disorder, people's appetite increases. You have more cravings for carbs and for those foods, and that can also be associated with weight gain, unfortunately. And that happens when people find themselves overeating. Another thing that can happen is that you just feel more sluggish. You don't want to get out of bed. You don't want to move around as much. You might be moving slower. But for some people, when they're a little bit depressed and nervous, they're more irritable, they're more fidgety. It can be anything. And then also for some people, they get to the point of feeling like they don't want to live anymore. But there is help available. Like I said earlier, seasonal affective disorder is something that happens during a certain season. So if you're having your symptoms start during the fall, during the winter, it is expected that by the springtime, your symptoms will improve. But we want to fast track that. Why suffer? So seek out a licensed mental health professional. But there are some things that you can do. Many people have maybe heard of a light box or a happy box. And so light therapy is one of the ways that we treat seasonal affective disorder. And to do light therapy properly, you want to have a box that is 10,000 lux. It's very important that it's at least 10,000 lux, that you sit in front of it for 30 minutes at least a day, and preferably in the morning, to try to simulate the natural cycle of the sun, where you're having more sun during the daylight hours and less during the evening hours. And that can help regulate the production of melatonin, which is thought to be disrupted in seasonal affective disorder. Also, just getting outside, getting some more natural sunlight is always a good thing as well. Other treatments for seasonal affective disorder include antidepressants, and those typically work by increasing the serotonin levels, although there are many ways that antidepressants can work. And finally, there is talk therapy as well. In addition to these treatments, I would say there are many things that you can do to keep up your general mental health. That is connecting with people, that is talking with people, that is eating healthy, that is getting regular rest and regular exercise as much as you can. So with seasonal affective disorder, you do not have to struggle on your own. You can go get help. If you find that you or anyone that you know has these symptoms, seek out a licensed mental health professional to help you. And I hope that these tips and this knowledge was helpful for you in dealing with seasonal affective disorder. Please remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and take care.